Most people have a lot going on in their lives. Jobs, responsibilities, housework, social life, etc. So adding a month-long art challenge to that schedule seems like trying to fill a bucket that's already full. How do you fit that in? Hey everybody, it's Madam Berry, and today I want to talk about everything that participating in Inktober for the past 4 or 5 years or so has taught me about productivity and work ethic. First, you can make room for it, even if that means making less room for the daily drawing. So, visualizing your day as like a Google Calendar or similar schedule, each task or responsibility takes up space. When you've filled in all of your obligations, look for the leftover spaces where you can block in some time to draw. This can be as long as you like, as long as you have time for it. If you're full-time self-employed and you can make your own schedule, this can be all day if you really want, but remember you're going to be doing this every day for a full month. So remember to keep some breathing room in your schedule. If you need more room, rearrange some tasks. If you find a few small empty cracks in your schedule, shuffle your day around. Maybe eat dinner half an hour earlier so you have a longer stretch of uninterrupted time. Or draw in what would normally be personal time. I like to think of drawing challenges as personal development anyway. Replacing my personal time with drawing time is something that I had to do last Sunday when the time that I would normally spend drawing was taken up by my Dungeons & Dragons campaign. That pushed my daily drawing later into the day to a point where I would have normally spent it as downtime. Something that I do that may not be an option for everyone is that I set my alarm 2 hours earlier. I sleep too much anyway, so this was a good way to actually motivate myself to get out of bed. This kind of bundling of something that you want to do, i.e. draw, with something you need to do, i.e. get up earlier, was coined temptation bundling by Wharton professor Catherine Milkman, and is one of the things that I talk about in my creative productivity workbook. You can download the first chapter and a printable worksheet for free in the link below. I like to use temptation bundling as a reward system for myself, but also as a way to combine tasks so I'm getting more done with less effort. So what do you do if you can only find a small sliver of time to draw? You make your drawing take up less room on the schedule. Perhaps you make the drawing smaller, using a smaller sized piece of paper, or you use a different kind of pen that you're more comfortable with, or you simplify your composition idea. Whenever you see all these artists posting their drawings on social media, it's easy to think you have to do the best that you can, that you have to do your best work every day, or else you may as well not even try. But remember that when you're doing a daily drawing challenge on top of everything else going on in your life, that the art that you would make for this challenge does not have to be a fully finished piece. In fact, I would argue that you shouldn't try to spend as much time on a daily drawing as you would a full polished piece of artwork. Doing that would lead to burnout super quickly. Last week, I almost had a panic attack cooking dinner because I reached a point of complete overwhelm. And at that point, I knew I had to scale my daily drawings back because they were contributing to burnout, and so I started simplifying my compositions. I did some paintings that weren't fully rendered and just contained 1 or 2 shades of gray, and that really helped. Examine your priorities. Some of the things on your daily to-do list might be absolutely vital, while others can be things that you can put off until later. Figuring out which of these falls into what category can help you make room for your daily drawing. You also need to consider how much of a priority your drawings will be. Are they high priority for you? Or can they be skipped or pushed until later if you have too much on your plate for that day? This decision is entirely personal and there's no wrong answer. It's okay to skip a day and pick up where you left off tomorrow. Focus on one thing at a time. Get one thing done before moving on to the next thing. I'm actually pretty bad at this, but I've noticed that when I focus on just one task, I get it done faster than if I were trying to balance 2 tasks at the same time. That sounds obvious, but it's easy to think, oh, I can do a bit of painting between each phone call I have to make today. But switching back and forth, you lose time each time you have to switch tasks. For instance, if I needed to pack store orders, which would normally take me about an hour, and I tried to get bits of my daily drawing in between each order as like a mental break or whatever, those two things combined might take me 4 hours, where if I spent an hour focusing on store orders and then spent 2 hours focusing on my drawing, I would save an extra hour just by keeping the focus on one thing. I want to talk a bit about the ethics of crunch. I spent 2010 until 2018 making games as part of my degree and then later as an independent developer. And a lot of that time I spent participating in game jams, which are timed events where groups or individuals make a game from scratch with certain themes before time runs out. It's sort of like the game dev version of an art challenge in some ways. One of the most polarizing discussions in the game industry is that of crunch, or the act of working overtime for long extended periods of weeks or months to finish a project. There are a small but vocal number of folks who would argue that game jams effectively mentally prepare developers for crunch by setting the expectation that spending all day and night on a project and sacrificing personal time is good, actually, and use this argument against game jams. I disagree, but I also want to use that to make the point of this is supposed to be a fun challenge. This is meant to help you think quickly and improve your artwork, but it's not meant to take over your life. Even though game jams are very short and monthly art challenges are a temporary time frame, they often have a recovery period afterwards because you're working yourself far harder than normal. Even for 48-hour challenges, I had to sleep for like 16 hours straight the next day. The potential for burnout is much higher than usual, and you should be taking extra steps to care for yourself during and after this challenge. That means setting hard boundaries on when you will work, how long your drawing will take, and by extension, its size and complexity. It means forgiving yourself if you can't complete a day, and picking back up where you left off if you still want to participate the next day. It means enlisting a friend or a partner to help out with meals or indulging in some takeout to lighten your workload if you need it. It means taking some time off after the challenge so that you can recover. Whatever it means for you, this will help you avoid feeling as much fatigue at the end of the challenge as you might otherwise feel. You can also do some things during the challenge to help mitigate that, such as sketching ahead of time. Although some would argue that's cheating, I don't care. They're wrong. Lastly, I want to say, and this is no freaking joke, rest your hands. If you've been drawing every day, you use your hands a lot, and I don't want nobody to develop any repetitive stress injuries. You hear me? Do some stretches, wear a brace if you need to, and for the love of all things good in the world, take a break if you're in pain. Alright, that's everything I wanted to talk about. What is your best tip for getting through a challenge or a large project? Let me know down below. I hope you enjoyed watching me paint days 10 through 15 of Cyberpunktober. Give that like button a tap for me if you did, and subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss any of my videos. If you want to hear all about the neon inks that I'm using in these pieces, head over to this video right here. Until next time, take care.